With me forward this afternoon is Joel Stransky, former Springbok fly half. Joel, it doesn't get bigger than this, does it?
It certainly doesn't. And the one thing the players will be thinking is exactly that. They want to be out there. The big games are what makes players, well, in both these teams, the likes of Brian O'Driscoll, Victor Matfield, across the board from both teams. A game like this is what makes them play this fantastic game of rugby union. The bigger, the better. And today is a cauldron. It's a gladiator versus gladiator type scenario. Very much the unknown as to what will happen. We know how the British and Irish Lions are going to play. Which South African team will come out? They've not played for some time. They've had very little preparation. But certainly on paper, one of the greatest teams, I believe, to have graced the fields coming out of South Africa. And look at the atmosphere here, Matt. Just a sea of red. Wonderful to see so many tourists over.
Bob Skinstad is with us as well, pitch side. Bob, can you describe the atmosphere down there?
Goosebumps. Matt, it's absolutely incredible here. The noise is deafening. I've got the Springbok non-playing reserves on the bench, on the seats behind me, and Chili Boy Ralapele knocked me on the shoulder and he said, "Why are you looking so nervous, big guy?" And I think the occasion is big enough to even make me nervous on the sideline.
Bob, are they not nervous?
I think they're looking calm and collected, Joel. I was expecting a bit more nerves. There's a lot of smiles, a lot of joking. Obviously, guys are really disappointed that they're not part of this, but they've made their peace and they're here to support the others, and it's positive.
The one man sitting next to you there is Ryan Kankowski. Do you think he should have probably been on the bench, Bob?
Well, it's a tough call, you know. It always at the last minute, the coach is going to make a couple of different calls, and this is the gut call that we've said Peter de Villiers has gone for. He's done it at 10. He's put Francis Steyn to back that one at 10 up, and is it going to make the biggest difference?
Probably not. Paul O'Connell will leave the team out, and what a moment it is for him.
62 test matches for Ireland and 3 tests for the British and Irish Lions back in 2005 against New Zealand, none of which were won by the Lions, of course. You have to go back to the first test match against Australia in 2001 for the last time that the Lions secured a test victory. Phil Vickery looking so focused. He will take on the Beast and Tawarira in the front row. He also has 3 Lions tests under his belt. A huge occasion for Paul O'Connell, bringing 4 nations together as one in the last of rugby's really great tours.
Oh, it's amazing. The atmosphere is just spectacular here this afternoon. I've got goosebumps just watching the players walk onto the field. Special moments, special times.
And a real privilege to be here. If you're not watching this, you're no fan of South African rugby. Stadium awash with the multicolored South African flag, and a time of reflection for the Lions as they face by far the biggest challenge of their tour so far. There has been criticism of some of the provinces not playing their Springboks against the British and Irish Lions and not giving them a harder time of it, but they have been tested in their build-up games. Specifically against Western Province, also against the Southern Kings. But this is just unbelievable. We said earlier on, the most eagerly awaited game since the 1995 Rugby World Cup final. What you're seeing on your screens now would suggest that we're not far wrong. As many red jerseys as there are in the stadium, there is passionate Springbok support. The last time the Springboks went out, of course, in an official test match was against England at Twickenham. A record victory by 42 points to 6 on that occasion. There have been question marks, which Joel Stransky asked Peter de Villiers about. Are they undercooked? We're about to find out as John Smith leads the Springboks out onto the Absa Stadium for the 56th time as captain, and in his 82nd test match, the most capped Springbok forward of all time, followed closely by Victor Matfield, who's playing his 81st test match. Ruan Pienaar will be a key figure. Just about 50 minutes of rugby in the last 2.5 months. Is that an area of weakness, perhaps?
Well, certainly not of weakness. It may be an area of lack of match practice. That might be the key. Talking about weakness, questions around the ability of John Smith at tight end against the very experienced Gethin Jenkins before the game. Jeremy Guscott was speaking about what a complete footballer he is. The captain of South Africa will have a real test this afternoon.
Heinrich Brousseau, what a moment for him. Just 20 minutes at Twickenham in November last year, now starting his first test match.
Most importantly, 80 minutes against the Lions earlier in the tour, where he was absolutely unbelievable.
Francois Steyn into the fullback jersey. He has played for South Africa at inside centre.
There's many that believe that fullback is his preferred position. I'm one of them.
Lining up for potentially his first cap for the Springboks, singing the anthem for the first time as part of the Springboks setup. Huge moment for John Smith as well. He described this during the past week as bigger than the Rugby World Cup, Joel.
Well, a Lions tour comes along to South Africa every 12 years. World Cup every 4 years. Vickery knows all about World Cups and Lions tours. And of course for John Smith and the Springboks, this is really a once-in-a-career opportunity. Some of the greatest Springboks of all times never got the opportunity to play against this great entity called the British and Irish Lions.
Bryce Lawrence takes charge from New Zealand, his 11th test match today. The last time he refereed South Africa was that epic 53-8 victory in Johannesburg against Australia in last year's Tri-Nations. Pierre Spies, what a phenomenon he's been at number 8 for the Bulls, and Victor Matfield alongside Bucky Spuita for the 46th time as the starting lock combination. One of the men they'll be up against, Paul O'Connell, the Lions captain. The noise is something to behold. Focus from Heinrich Brousseau. Ruan Pienaar waits. Jean de Villiers looking relaxed with Bryce Lawrence. And we are good to go in Durban. Bryce Lawrence checks with Paul O'Connell, and Ruan Pienaar has the responsibility of getting the series underway. And immediately away from the Lions forwards. And an early kick from Brian O'Driscoll. Got a little nudge as he kicked it as well. And a good bounce of the ball. Great clearance from O'Driscoll.
Well, immediately it was South Africa turning to the far side. And Ruan Pienaar kicking it quite possibly into the sun and into a little bit of the glare for Brian O'Driscoll. Took it well. Nothing really in the nudge. And what a kick it was from the man they call the Bod.
Bismarck du Plessis looking to make the hooker position his own. He's got arguably the best line out in the world to aim at. Matfield, Buerta, Smith, Spies. all options. Goes to Matfield in the middle, and Brousseau is immediately in there to get his arms around it.
What's the wing of the knee?
Farid Duprier, who's been in such imperious form for the Bulls during this year's Super 14. His kick is tight to the touchline and putting pressure on Ugo Monye, but there were Springboks ahead of the ball and a kickable penalty early on.
JP Peterson, it may well have been a little bit ahead. Sean Smith was on that blind side as well. The maul didn't go quite according to plan as South Africa would have hoped. It was well sacked by the British and Irish Lions. Ross Lawrence is blown for offside on the far side. First reaction from South Africa was to maul and play. I wonder if they haven't set their stall out. It was a kick to the far side, then they wanted to play from deep inside their half. And ultimately, it's going to be a shot at goal for Stephen Jones. Who is the man who's offside here? Oh, JP Peterson has just jumped the gun ever so slightly. Bit of adrenaline, bit of nerves.
No.
But too quick out the blocks. Tough kick for Stephen Jones though. No real wind to speak of, Matt. Conditions here in Durban almost perfect. It's a beautiful, warm afternoon.
Stephen Jones, such experience, 693 points he scored in the jersey of Wales in 80 test matches. Also played 3 tests for the British Lions against New Zealand in 2005. This to get the Lions underway, but it's just away to the left.
Hang on.
And Steyn wants to return it with interest. Huge punt downfield from Francois Steyn. And a great nerve settler for him.
Wow, it's an unbelievable response from Steyn. It is the great strength he will have at fullback. Not only will he run the ball back with that big bulk of his, he's a big man, 1.91 meters, 100 kgs, but he will kick you back. And of course, inside his half, around that halfway line, you miss touch, he's going to knock 1 or 2 over from a drop goal.
First line out for the Lions. Lee Mears, the England hooker, towards the tail, snatched away by South Africa against the throw. Pienaar, flat for de Villiers. Jacobs had to take it behind him. Habana for de Villiers, and now Steyn. Just lost his footing at the crucial moment. Spies with the tackle made by Jenkins. Pienaar. Some space in behind the Lions defence here, and JP Peterson gives chase. It's Peterson against Monye. And Jacobs is on hand. Scrum South Africa. Great following up from JP Peterson and AD Jacobs.
And a great kick from Ruan Pienaar. Looking to play, looking to pass. Nothing on, saw the space. And the kick was absolutely perfectly weighted. The chase also absolutely superb. The British and Irish Lions very flat indeed, which created that bit of space there. Good recovery from Monye, and then the ball went missing. No one could find it for a moment.
Well, Joel, I was just going to say, the rush defence has been employed by the Lions throughout this tour to great effect, but it does expose you to that little kick.
Yeah, even in the move before, that last pass from AD Jacobs, granted from a stolen line-out. If that had managed to get away to Habana, he was clear.
Great first scrum from the Springboks. Pienaar with the little dart. Farid Duprier has quick ball for Juan Smith. They want to bring it left here, the Springboks. John Smith! Try! Fabulous work from the Springbok captain. Great cohesion. His 5th test try. Boy, does that put a marker down.
Well, if anyone thought the Springboks were not going to be well enough prepared, think again. Brilliant pulled up here, set move through the phases. Both the Lions centres involved in making the tackle. The next ball out, a little bit of space for Smith. Try number 1 for South Africa, perfect start. Great leg strength, great drive. Tom Croft getting there, but all too late. Perfect start for South Africa.
And Ruan Pienaar gets a pretty straightforward first kick at goal as well, which we always thought was important. Just to find his radar. South Africa lead by 7. Bob Skinstad.
Matthew, we've spoken about being undercooked all week. I tell you, I know John Smith prefers his steak medium rare. And I think it showed there. He went over that line. He was unstoppable. Jamie Roberts looked at what was coming at him and said, please, my friend, you're welcome to put the ball down anywhere here.
A massive statement from the Springboks early on as Stephen Jones restarts. Staying underneath, took his eye off it. Straight away, the Lions will have an opportunity to apply pressure. Scrum, centre field, inside the Springbok 22.
Well, a little bit of disappointment on the face of France stand there. It was a high-hanging kickoff. Oh, straight through the basket. Uncharacteristic error. Good position for the British and Irish Lions, though. Over to the right has come Lee Byrne. On his outside, he's got Tommy Bowe. Jones, O'Driscoll, Phillips off to the left.
Come up.
Down it goes in the front row. Certainly in the first two scrums, no sign of any weakness in that Springbok pack.
Yeah.
Well, in the first three set phases, no sign of any weakness. A couple of big scrums, a stolen line-out ball. It's a tight five that will be relishing the challenge here this afternoon.
Well, Gethin Jenkins and Phil Vickery pulling out of that one at the last minute, just before the engagement. Sean Edwards, pensive, the defensive coach for the Lions.
I'll be disappointed that the Lions' defence got breached as early as it did.
Vickery's popped out again, picked up by Heaslip at the back. Phillips was the dummy runner. O'Driscoll with the cutout from Monnier!
Well, it's a perfect response from the Lions. Well worked down the left-hand side. The skip pass was absolutely perfect. Monnier had to slow down ever so slightly. It's going to go upstairs. Monnier thinks he scored. South Africa's a high-fiving of the good
We need
defensive
to check
effort.
grounding, touch, everything, please. Try or no try.
Try or no try the call.
Okay.
So grounding, touch, everything is being asked for here, as Christophe Berdo of France must adjudicate. JP Peterson is the man trying to make the tackle.
Well, he's short at the moment. He's allowed a second movement to ground it. Does Jean de Villiers get a hand in underneath that? That is the big question. Monnier certainly stayed in play. De Villiers thinks he may well have saved this. The ball's in the air at the moment. Still in the air.
Not grounded yet from that evidence.
I think Jean de Villiers has produced the miracle save. The Lions have seen it on the big screen. One or two of them meandering back towards the poles of the Springboks. Monnier's gone back. Jean de Villiers, his first reaction was a high five when he stood up. Hand in underneath. That's the key. Does that ball get grounded now? No. Is it grounded in the absence of the view? Still not grounded. Is it grounded there? Well, I'm not sure. Probably not.
And
maybe.
by that time, I think he's crossed over, touching goal.
Bryce, I have a decision.
Thank you.
The ball was not touching goal. The ball was not touching goal. It's a scrum 5 red.
Was it touching goal here?
Doesn't touch in goal.
Sorry?
The ball doesn't touch in goal.
Okay, but it was carried in by red.
Yeah, scrum 5 red.
Why scrum 5 red though?
Because the green player played the ball after and go in that deadline.
The green player played the ball here or in goal?
Yeah, it's a scrum 5 red.
Why though?
Attacking scrum.
What? You need
Attacking.
Yeah, you need to tell me why it's a scrum 5.
Because the green player on the floor played the ball and
in the field of play or in goal?
No, it was in goal.
Okay, it's a 22 then.
So 22-meter dropout has been awarded as we awaited the decision.
No.
Bit of a language breakdown there. I think really a misinterpretation.
The TMO from France, Christophe Berdo, suggesting that it should be a 5-meter scrum to the British and Irish Lions.
Bryce Lawrence quite right, though, saying that the ball was carried over by Red, therefore it's a 22-metre dropout.
The restart, tapped back by Matfield. Smith on the charge.
Stay.
Now Pienaar. Well, Lee Byrne just slipping, but he's got plenty of time to get back. Inside his 22, he's got a huge left boot on him. That's a great take from Steyn. And now the up and under onto Monye. Pierre Spies gives chase. It came off Spies. Brousseau is following up like the terrier that he is, but knocked on by Pierre Spies.
Almost looked like a good header from Pierre Spies. Yeah, it was. Mind you, Brousseau was probably in front of him, so possibly a little fortunate. Could have been a penalty.
Pierre Spies keeping his options open for Bafana later on.
Good shit straight to Bloemfontein for the Confed Cup match.
Pause, engage.
Another big scrum from the Springboks. Juan Smith absolutely delighted, and they're all over their skipper, John Smith.
And all over the beast. It's a massive front row effort here. Good pressure in from behind, and the Lions came. Vickery whipping his head out and up in the air.
Stop, please.
Bob Skinstad, how important is it in that front row in the tight five to get that early ascendancy?
Joel, we talk about it every week, you know, it's a mini battle within a test match, and I can tell you that those guys were talking this morning in hushed tones around the hotel, talking to each other, motivating and keeping each other aware of the fact that they need to lead from the front. And jeepers, Bismarck du Plessis was patting Beast on the back there and saying, well done, my man. They're obviously fulfilling some form of internal goal, and it makes a huge difference when the guys show leadership like that.
And of course, when you get to this level, every player is a leader. Great to see. British and Irish Lions fans won't like that. Came with a big pack of forwards, hoping to dominate, hoping to play physical rugby.
Pienaar, 15 metres in from the right-hand touchline. A relatively quiet stadium for him as he approaches. He turned and picked up the tee straight away. Always a suggestion that the strike is pure. No sign of rustiness yet from the Springbok fly half.
Well, it was a good hit from the Beast, and of course so much of it is in the hit. Pressure in from behind. We hit it inwards. The Beast continued the pressure, nowhere else to go. Eventually he popped out the top.
Hanging restart from Jones. Steyn this time is well positioned. Good tackle from Heaslip.
Down, scrum.
Frans Steyn will be happy to have made the clean take this time. Of course, not allowed to call the mark, but a good chasing tackle from Heaslip. South Africa ball though, chance to clear.
Good work by you. Good work. Give him your shoulder, hit straight.
28 test matches for Francois Steyn, and a World Cup winners medal as well.
Touch. Pause, engage.
Still such a young man, just 21 years old.
Go behind.
Pienaar with time to clear. There was some pressure from Croft off the side of the scrum, but it's a wonderful clearance from Ruan Pienaar.
Well, there was so much talk before this test match about South Africa being a little underprepared, having not played. A lot of these players having had very little match time. The Beast certainly not showing any signs of being underprepared here, nor the whole front row. Vickery popping out the top and being penalised. But this start from South Africa, bearing in mind some of these players haven't played for almost 10 weeks, has been absolutely phenomenal.
Mears for Croft in the line out, the England duo. And Mike Phillips, who's had precious little opportunity so far in his first Lions test, took it up on Mears again.
No, fine. Scrum.
Bucky's Boertoed was who wrapped up Lee Mears, not the tallest man in the world, only 1.73 metres. Powerfully
Sound
built though,
technique.
just under 100 kgs, but Bucky's was all over him like a rash. And Bob, you don't want Bucky's all over you, do you?
Stay down and scrum.
Certainly
square.
not, Joel. In fact, the chat fell away a little bit in the week about the big contest between Bucky's and Victor and Alan Wynne-Jones and Paul O'Connell, but it's certainly firing here today. They've traded line-out and ruck and maul duties.
Just going back to Ruan Pienaar, Joel, the 50 minutes of rugby that he's had in the last 2.5 months was against the Bulls here in Durban. He looked a little out of sorts, but just showing that he's up for the big occasion.
And he limped off with an ankle injury after that game, or 60 minutes into that game. So
Once you're here, you don't move back. Get up.
he has been a little short on game time, and well, he certainly has bounced back.
Stop it.
Doesn't look like he's
Stop
missed a
it.
minute.
Come forward.
The
Crouch.
scrum is a
Touch. Pause.
massive battle at the moment. The Lions trying to establish some sort of control.
Better one from the Lions this time. Phillips goes to the left, and Lee Byrne steps beautifully past Farid Priya. Phillips again working the short side, this time for Alan Wynne-Jones. With support from his captain, Paul O'Connell. Mears. Vickery in behind him to make the clean out. Phillips for Jones. David Wallace gets his first real opportunity to carry the ball up. Now Jones. Byrne looks to straighten, offload for Bow, and Monye all the way over from the left wing. Phillips. Flat ball for O'Connell. Big tackle from Mtawarira. But good continuity here for the Lions, and Wallace is through. Crucial tackle made by Francois Steyn, but the Lions still in the ascendancy here. Phillips had the ball knocked out of his hand, but Juan Smith starts the counter-attack. Habana. Look for an offload through the tackle.
Hugo Monye it was. He was very quick to get over and contest the ball on the ground. I'm not sure he was carrying his whole body weight. It looked like he may well have been almost lying on it, but got his hands on it. He's won the penalty. What a little break from Wallace. The pass, the timing of the pass from Lemire is absolutely superb. Banner's not happy with that decision. This is the break first. Mia's got it in his hands there. The little show and go, and then the pop pass. No support either side, and David Wallace was certainly looking around. This was a Banner's little dart. Good tackle coming across with Jenkins. Monye was quick over there, but he is certainly not bearing his body weight.
And that's why Brian Habana wasn't happy. Great tackle from Jenkins, though. That's what he gives the Lions instead of an Andrew Sheridan, who a lot of South African pundits felt would be the loose head. Jones for the 3 points, and it's away to the left. Just have to take your kicks at this level. Steyn doesn't want to dot it down dead. He wants to drive the Lions back.
Running in line with me.
Coming a little off the side of the boot from Grant Steyn. It's a good touch finder nonetheless. Stephen Jones will be disappointed, as will that man there, Sean Edwards, defensive coach of the British and Irish Lions.
Mears, 34 test matches for England, his first in a Lions jersey today. Over the top and tapped back by Pierce Spies, the second one against the throw by the Springboks, and Pienaar looks to clear and bounces it perfectly. It's all going the way of the Springboks at the moment.
It is. It's not just by accident, though. It's by design. Grant Steyn has cleared it from behind the goal line. He's kicked it out, and now Pienaar has done exactly the same, aiming for the touchline for this reason. South Africa can steal any line-out. Such a strength in the line-out. It's not just Matfield, Botha, Smith and Spies at the back as well. They're a very difficult team to put the line-out ball in against.
So the pressure will build on O'Connell and Mears. This time, the combination works well.
Okay.
Steyn with a little juggle just outside his 22. He positioned himself well, though, so as not to knock the ball on. Byrne loves to run from the back, past Peterson, but not past Juan Smith.
Quiet.
Phillips for Tommy Bow, looking for work over from the right wing. What a great tour he's had. 4 tries in the 6 build-up games.
Stay.
He played in 3 of them. Jones under pressure from Spies. Crowd were asking for a drop goal, perhaps, from Francois Steyn. 65 metres odd. Byrne outside his 22-metre area, trying to pin Francois Steyn against the touchline. Now Peterson gives this up and under. Good chase, as does Juan Smith, who got up. Vickery did some good work. Brousseau was burrowing.
I think the call is against Juan Smith. Offside, I think, is the call from
Never
Bryce
put
Lawrence.
onside, straight into the ball. Never
Front of the
onside.
kicker. Tactical couple of minutes we're experiencing now. A lot of kicking, a lot of
Call.
cut
Penalty or
and
a
thrust, a
scrum
lot
where
of
it was
pushing
kicked.
the opposition back into their territory. Juan Smith, judged to have been in front of the kicker, not having retreated.
Scrum.
Well, the Lions have certainly earned the respect of all the teams they've played against when they've carried the ball. We've seen them carry the ball through 10 and 12 phases on a couple of occasions already. Ball in hand, they get a little bit of go forward. They're very difficult to defend against. They've gone for the scrum, hoping to get the ball going, get some movement, get a bit of momentum and get on the scoreboard.
Vinny, come back. Come back.
Huge test of
Crouch.
Paul O'Connell's captaincy as well.
Touch. Pause. Engage.
Good scrum again from the Springboks, and Brousseau has poached it away. Dupree went to the open side and then stole some space on the blind. It's a good tackle. And Dupree stayed down on that shoulder.
And he's had a number of problems on that shoulder. He'll be delighted with the performance so far of the forwards. The Lions went for the scrum, not wanting to kick it out and lose the line out. And Bob, they've come unstuck in the scrum too.
They certainly have, Joel. I mean, Beast and Torreira, they're just doing his job, keeping their head down and scrumming straight, and Vickery's really struggling to get ahead of him here. I'm just hoping for Faree's sake that he hasn't gone onto that bad shoulder again. I don't know if there were arms in that tackle. Certainly the touch judge put his flag out after that to chat to the ref, so maybe we'll find a slightly bigger decision here than we thought.
Certainly no arms in the tackle, Bob. I hope you're right. I hope Faree is okay. He's such a pivotal player in this team. It's Tom Croft who gets across there.
You be the doctor.
Big shoulder charge.
Your job.
No arms. I'm sure it'll be a penalty.
South African fans, you can breathe again.
Where's the mark?
Been in such great form for the Bulls, and a key part of the Springboks' plans for this season.
It's close to the touchline, but there's no arms in the tackle made by 6, okay? It's going to be a penalty. Thank you. Just here.
The call is made by Vinnie Munro that it will be a penalty to South Africa for that shoulder charge, no use of the arms. Just going back to the point, Bob, about Paul O'Connell and the test of his leadership now, going 10 points down early in such an eagerly awaited match and having to bring them together. Tough call.
It certainly is, Matt, you know, and leaders aren't made overnight. They're forged through different trials and tribulations that they go through. Paul O'Connell's done that for Ireland, but is he a big enough character to do it here today for the Lions?
Well, he'll draw on the experience of the leaders around him as well, including Brian O'Driscoll, who's had virtually no opportunity in the game. Francois Steyn is the man called up to take this penalty. 65 points in test matches so far.
Distance shouldn't be an issue.
Certainly not. One of the penalties he's kicked was in the Rugby World Cup final from a similar distance. It's certainly got the distance. It's got the direction as well. And while the Lions have missed 2 kicks at goal, South Africa have 3 out of 3, 2 penalties and a conversion, and lead by 13. The smiles are out.
There's not too many red jumpers jumping up and down in the stand at the moment. Lions fans as shell-shocked as their team.
Look at the focus, though, on the faces of this South African side. They have been so up for this, regardless of their supposed underpreparedness. Many of these players have waited for this very opportunity to come around. Croft was quickly up to put pressure on Steyn at the restart. South African fullback held firm. Pienaar.
Stay green! No!
Can't kick it out this time. Carried back it was.
Now Lee Byrne
10 metres red!
puts it up for Monye to chase. Spies just overran it a fraction. Comes back for Alan Wynne-Jones. Valuable possession for the Lions here. Wallace on the short side, picked up in the tackle by Bismarck du Plessis and driven towards touch.
Almost manhandled by Buckies and Bismarck.
guys.
So the Springbok line-out hasn't had much opportunity on their own throw, but they've poached a number of Lions balls already. Bucky's Buerta now loses one. A rare occurrence indeed. Turned over by O'Connell. Now Jones for Wallace in midfield. It's all a little static. No real momentum there, but they've got an extra man over here on the right. Roberts gets a first opportunity. O'Driscoll! Brian O'Driscoll! Beautiful stepping in the offload for Croft. The try is awarded. The first opportunity they got to unleash what has become on this tour a deadly midfield combination. They have delivered with aplomb.
Jamie Roberts, the man who's created this. Tom Croft may well have rounded it off, but with the centre combination of Roberts and O'Driscoll working in tandem superbly. The little show and go, realised he could get arms through, released O'Driscoll early enough. Bronstein did very well indeed to back off, but just the support play of Croft just too good on this occasion. It's a great response, brilliant little half break from Jamie Roberts, combining well with the man they call Bod. Try scored, and it's a great response from the Lions.
And a vital response as well, as Stephen Jones adds the 2 points.
Doesn't waste any time in taking his kicks, does he?
Was just so necessary for the morale of the team, that score, having conceded the penalty to Francois Steyn. The burst from Roberts, he is such a big, strong man, who made his debut against South Africa for Wales last year.
What Croft did so well is that he realised he was overrunning Brian O'Driscoll a little. He stopped, made sure he was behind O'Driscoll, collected the ball and got over for the try.
Restart, gathered in by Jamie Heaslip. That will be a massive boost of confidence to this Lions outfit.
Back one. Yeah, got it.
Booming left boot from Lee Byrne. Francois Steyn. Is this the first drop goal attempt? It is, but it never got more than 6 inches above the turf.
Except on the third bounce.
No red, no 12.
Burns kick allowed to bounce, and Peterson has an opportunity. He has Farid Duprier with him. Monya back all on his own, and a safe call, calling for the mark. And now the little error from Ruan Pienaar, the first thing he's done wrong. The Lions fans love it. Pressure back on South Africa.
Well, it is. The Lions have come up with a try, a great try it was. Concern on the faces of the camp all of a sudden. And Pienaar just somehow letting that one slip through his hands. And the Irish fans finally something to shout about. Their team have a try and they've got another attacking position.
Hold the ball properly.
It'll be beast into our era. Now try and get that left shoulder up against full Vickers. Stop the ball from putting a little shoulder on the open side.
Come on.
Well, what a warning shot that was, Bob, that try. The first time that the Lions backs got a chance. The first time they had anything like decent possession.
It certainly was, Matt, and we've said it, the Roberts-O'Driscoll combination is going to be dangerous, and I just felt that the Springboks hung off the tackle a little bit, and A.D. Jacobs and Brian Abana were both looking for the long pass from Jones, put themselves into a bit of a position where they had to commit to a low tackle and couldn't go ball and all, and Roberts could just offload to O'Driscoll, and we know what happens after that.
Much better scrum from the Lions now as well. They are gaining composure here. Jones. O'Driscoll. There's a little show for Lee Byrne. Tommy Bowe thinks he's over.
There's no doubt it's crossing. Ross Lawrence has got it 100%.
Running around the back.
Brian O'Driscoll knew the spaces on the outside, knew he couldn't get the ball there without that little run in behind the fullback.
Well, you be the judge. Was that crossing?
Well, they don't think so.
The penalty from Pienaar hasn't found touch. 2 unforced errors from the Springbok fly half in the last couple of minutes. Farid Duprier, safe under the high ball. This is an awkward one for the Lions. It's claimed by Francois Steyn. Nobody wanted it in a red jersey. Matfield and Buerta had to do some good rescue work there. Jacobs. O'Connell wrapped the ball up in the tackle, but he didn't let go.
Never release the ball. All over him. Stand up first, then pick it up. Straight off your feet.
Looking a little bemused, the Lions captain, but he did wrap the ball in the tackle as they went to ground. He's got to get back on his feet before he plays it again.
I'm not sure he was ever on the ground, though. Ugo Monya got away with that a little bit earlier. Elbows on the ground, which means he's not holding up his own body weight. It's a long shot. Steyn nailed the last one.
Well, in the warm-up before this game, he was knocking them over from almost 60 metres. Taking it well inside his own half and on a couple of angles as well. A great view from up top on the stadium roof. Steyn pulled it way away to the left. Certainly had enough distance on it. He gets a small round of applause. Almost half an hour gone in the first half of this first of 3 test matches. Spies for Jacobs. Wrapped up in the tackle by Roberts, but good cleaning out from the Springboks. Pienaar for de Villiers. Took it just a fraction behind him and tried to drag the ball through the contact situation. He's very frustrated with himself.
Well, South Africa got off to a fly in the first 7 to 11 minutes. Shown 1 or 2 little rusty signs since. Timing not 100%. John de Villiers a little flat, the ball going in behind. Tried to hook it in. If he had hooked it in, he may well have been gone.
Crouch. Touch. Pause. Engage.
Scrum continues
Relax.
to deliver 1 or 2 problems. Who's under the pressure there, Bob?
Joel, it's a tough one to call. I think Phil Vickery is now understanding he's got to get that hit. But it certainly looks like John Smith's taking on his man and actually knocking him backwards at the tight head side.
Well, of course, John Smith propped against Gethin Jenkins in Cardiff last November in his first match for almost 8 years at tight head, and he performed admirably on that occasion, going almost the full 80 minutes. Phillips hasn't got nearly as much distance on that kick as he wanted, but Bow was quickly up, but Bucky's Buerta doing the cover work. Steyn, good hands for Jacobs, and now de Villiers puts the rolling kick through, beautifully read by Lee Byrne. Steyn spots something on Pienaar. Bow waits underneath. Tackle from Smith and Pienaar.
Leave it green. 13.
Phillips back for Jones. He was forced by the pressure from Pierre Spies to kick to the open side. Now Steyn inside for de Villiers with a bit of space. Matfield for Farid Dupré. Thought he might have spotted a half gap there. It wasn't closed very quickly.
Lost by 9.
And lost forward in the contact.
Lost forward by 9 in the tackle. Into a red player.
Farid Dupré just not controlling it. Pierce Spies has been a little bit quiet there. He could well have been calling for the ball off Farid Dupré, and I can't help thinking that he should have been maybe the man carrying it up. As a big man, a lot of pace, rather than Farid Dupré. Oh, that Irish. Second row, Connell combining with Alan Wynne-Jones. Second row for Wales. Oh, another penalty for South Africa. The crowd are loving it here in Durban. He has become a complete cult hero.
Well, the man who captained England against South Africa in the Rugby World Cup final in 2007 is being given a torrid afternoon.
expert on the scrums, but I'm sometimes difficult to say why that went down. Didn't look like it was anyone in particular's fault. Decision's gone against Vickery. South Africa will be grateful.
Ruan Pienaar successful with a conversion and a penalty so far. Francois Steyn given the responsibility of 2 longer penalty attempts, one of which he goaled. But this very much within Pienaar's range. .62 test match points before this game, 5 added so far. This to take his tally to 70. Percy Montgomery at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen there, the kicking coach. And straight away he goes for the tee. South Africa ahead by 9.
Always been 1 or 2 doubts about Pienaar's kicking. He's certainly putting those to bed today.
Kicked beautifully on the end of year tour though, Joel, at Cardiff and also in London in that record win.
And of course for the Sharks, it's Rory Cockett who's been doing the kicking.
Fourie du Preez underneath the restart, had to go very low to take it, and away goes the beast on the first of his rampaging runs that brings the cheer from the crowd. Beautiful take from Peterson, I think it was, chasing the kick from Fourie du Preez. Pienaar will look for territory. Byrne has read the play well in the last line of defence for the Lions so far. Peterson again, and Byrne has not played them onside yet, and Peterson goes for a burst up the middle. Good tackle from O'Connell. Matfield, Jacobs, and the rush defence is up again. Tommy Bowe couldn't grab it. Habana will give chase and will make the tackle. Jacobs in over the ball as well. And Tommy Bowe, under the pressure, holds on and concedes a penalty.
No, I got it. I saw my next. Well, fair, clear and obvious.
Penalty can't be against us.
Excuse me. He's clearly going in. He's struggling to hold it up. There's been 2 penalties.
Tommy Bowe penalised.
Shot, please.
They say a kicking game is only as good as the chase. The chase from South Africa on every single kick has been superb. Look at this, nowhere to go really. Well wrapped up, numbers galore there, like a green blanket. Driscoll in from the side trying to save it, and Bismarck du Plessis, I'm not sure what he was thinking here. The end result, Pienaar has another chance to extend that kicking record and extend South Africa's lead.
Paul O'Connell getting very frustrated with the last couple of decisions from Bryce Lawrence. But the New Zealand referee has been very clear in his direction. Is to extend the lead to 12 points with just under 5 minutes to play in the first half. Pienaar's got a lovely curve on that. Flags up again. 4 out of 4 from the boot of Ruan Pienaar. Bench is smiling again. They went through a pretty tense period.
That they did. But South Africa bounced back well, Bob, and I'm sure looking at the breakdown, Paul O'Connell and Ian McGeechan are going to have a little word at the half-time break and work out what to do at the breakdown.
Definitely, Joel, and they might give Brian O'Driscoll a change of underpants too.
De Villiers is away from the restart. The flick inside. It was intended for Habana, but Bucky Spuerta was there to grab it.
Stay out of it, Red!
Du Preez for Pienaar. We will test Lee Byrne once again. Almost got away from him, but Byrne launching the counter-attack. Jones now for Wallace. Beautiful hands from O'Driscoll. But now Steyn has plenty of time to drive the Lions back into their own half.
And once again, quite happy to kick it out. Let the likes of Matfield, Botha and Spies contest the line out.
keep the sky on you.
Paul O'Connell has to lift his men. Certainly leads by example in everything that he does. Good tackle from Brousseau as Jamie Roberts tried to burst through. Oh, Driscoll took his eye off it, and Beast and Tawarira drives him back. Springboks over the ball, turnover. Pinar will look to swing it. Jacobs for Peterson. Takes on Heaslip, the chip and chase. Peterson just kept it in, but knocked it on.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Stephen. Sorry.
A little apology.
A big apology.
Foot on the ground. Okay. Sorry.
JP Peterson, good presence of mind, and you don't often see that. Brian O'Driscoll almost never makes mistakes. South Africa very quick to turn the ball over, and of course turnover ball, great ball to attack with.
I should have played advantage.
Bryce Lawrence still apologising. Stephen Jones had got across there, covered well.
Replacement on. Rob Carney for the British and Irish Lions. Here are the scrums that the Springboks have put in.
Well, it's been a massive battleground in there. Gladiator upon gladiator. Vickery coming off second. John Smith doing phenomenal work on the far side, as is Tendai Tawarira with Bismarck in the middle. South Africa will be very happy with their scrum power.
So Lee Byrne is the man off and sitting on the bench. The Welsh fullback, and Rob Carney is on. Now Paul O'Connell again wants a conference with Bryce Lawrence after yet another scrum penalty.
Listen, he can't hold his bind. He's falling into the tunnel. That's 3. You're leaving me very little option soon. 2 metres.
I'm not sure what the British Lions can do now.
Half-time.
Paul Vickery's under enormous pressure. Whatever he's doing, he's getting it wrong.
Shot, please.
There's a time to take drastic action, bring Adam Jones on. Lee Byrne is unfortunately done himself a bit of damage. We'll try and find out what that injury is. Slipping the bind. Just the pressure really forcing Vickery inwards.
Four out of 4 for Ruan Pinar, 1 out of 2 for Francois Steyn. Some fairly dramatic irony, given that in 1997, in this test match against the British Lions in Durban, South Africa scored 3 tries without reply, didn't get a single thing from the kicking team.
It's 0 from 7 or 8, if I remember correctly.
And now they're 5 from 6 with a kick to come, just seconds before half-time. Pinar, and just away to the right. So one opportunity goes a-begging. That man's had a huge match up against Phil Vickery. 2 penalties so far, conceded points at scrum time, but there have been other indiscretions as well. Matfield gathers a 22-meter dropout. Just a lull in the noise in the stadium for a second, and it all looked as though it was in slow motion for a while. And Tawarira looks perhaps for a pick and drive. JP Peterson is having nothing of that. Into touch he goes. Dick Muir and Gary Gold quickly into the tunnel there, the 2 assistant Springbok coaches. And a very satisfactory first half for the Springboks.
I think if they could have scripted it any better, they would probably have been a miss. They've certainly got it 100% as expected here in the first half.
A try from John Smith, 3 penalties from Ruan Pinar, and a conversion. A penalty from Francois Steyn. South Africa lead at halftime, 19-7.